If you are brand new to video editing and you are overwhelmed or maybe intimidated with all of the software out there and all the apps and you don't know what to use or how to use them, today's video is for you. I'm going to show you how easy it is to edit your first video using a free piece of software called CapCut. Now we're going to do this on a computer today, but if you're wanting to learn how to do this on a phone or a tablet, click on the card or head to the description or the pinned comment. I have a video link there just for you. And for those of you who are going to do this on a computer, I'm going to show you how to import your footage, how to edit the footage on the timeline, how to add transitions, how to add text, how to add graphics, and how to export that video and prepare it for YouTube. So by the end of this video, you're going to have your first video ready for YouTube. So go to CapCut.com, download and install the software, and follow along. When you open up CapCut, you're going to notice that it has 4 sections. And I'm going to show you what each one of these sections is for, but we're going to start by looking at the section in the far left top corner. This is where you're going to import your video footage, import any photos or graphics you want to use, or if you're going to use music, you would import it here as well. So the first thing we're going to do is go find the video footage that you hopefully have on your desktop. We're going to go find that and we're going to import it into CapCut. Now, I already have a folder structure put into place. I have a template folder, and inside of that template folder, I have an audio folder, graphics folder for any photos or graphics that I want to put in there, raw footage, that's where the raw clips that come directly off my camera or the phone will go. I have a thumbnail, which is where the final thumbnail image or images will go, because I usually make more than one to test it. And if I have any thumbnail poses or graphics or video clips where I've posed in the thumbnail, I'll put that there. I can go over that in another video showing you how to get poses off of an actual thumbnail. Then what I do is I copy this template and I rename the template into whatever project name that I'm going to use. So I always have the same folder structure for all of my videos. And this comes in really handy if you're using external drives or if you're loading these up into the cloud to reference later. So what we're going to do for this video, we're going to go to raw footage because that's where I have my test clips. I'm going to highlight them both and I'm going to import. You can see they're both in the timeline and they're both highlighted blue. If I click off, they're not selected. If I click on one of them, it's going to play in the player here in the middle. It's going to show me a sample of what it is. And I can click again and it's going to stop. Now, I can highlight them both and drag them in the order that they appear here. Or if I want to put them in a different order, I can drag one, I can highlight it and drag one and pull it down into the timeline down at the bottom. I'm clicking and I'm holding and I'm dragging. And I can do that with the second one. I'm going to drag it down to where it goes down behind it. And you're going to bring all of your clips in this way. Now, before we get into this, I want you to look over on the right-hand side. You're going to see some icons that are colored blue. This is the one that I recommend you experiment with to see if this works for you. This is the track magnet. And if it's blue, it's turned on. And what this does is if you were to grab clips and pull them away, it's going to automatically snap to the nearest clip going to the left. Now I can turn this on and off. If it's off right now, you can see that I can move these videos in any direction and they stay there. So I turn this on and off depending on what I'm doing and depending on the track. If I have graphics on top of it, I might turn it off to move some things around if it's snapping, and then I might turn it back on later. But if you're just getting started, I recommend trying to turn this on. You see what happened when I turned it on? Everything snapped together. Because what can happen, and let me click in here in the middle, and I just took my mouse and I clicked between these two clips, and I'm going back over to the right, and I'm going to move this slider to the right, and it's going to zoom in. It's going to keep zooming in. Alternatively, if I went to the left, it's going to zoom out. Actually, that's probably backwards. Zoom out, zoom in. You get the idea. So I'm zooming in this way. And if I turn off the track magnet and I pull this just a little bit to the right, you can see that there's a black space between them. So if you're not yet comfortable and you've yet to build the habit of making sure that all of your clips are together by grabbing them and pushing them together, and you can tell that they are because you can see that blue line that appears. So if you haven't built that habit yet and you're afraid that you might leave a black space, which isn't going to look good in the final video, you can simply turn on track magnet. I'm not going to get into this one. You can turn it on, turn it off, experiment with it. I'm not going to get into these right now either. The main things I want you to focus on are the bare bones basics to get you up and running. But this one is important. The track magnet and the zoom is very important. Now, once you've imported your footage, let me show you how to cut the footage, how to clip them. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and you see if I highlight over this scroll bar, I can move everything to the left or to the right. And by the way, I just want to say that there are shortcuts for everything. So if you're someone who wants to do things with the Stream Deck, which is a device where you can preload shortcuts, or if you're doing things on a keyboard, you can go up here to shortcuts, click on that, and it will give you all of the shortcuts that you can use if you're a shortcut type of person. I'm not. I do use the Stream Deck, but for this video, I'm going to do things manually. So I'm going to grab this playhead here, and I want you to look on this clip and look down here at the bottom. You're going to see audio. That's me speaking. And I know that here, throughout this point, I'm not speaking. This is me getting ready to speak. So what I'm going to do, and there's two ways to do this. The first way is to watch the player and get right to the point where you're going to start speaking. Make sure the clip is highlighted, and you can come up here and you can click split. Now, Windows and Mac, they're going to have different shortcuts. You can program these into a Stream Deck, like I said, but for this video, we're going to do it manually here within the software. So if I click on split, it's going to split this section in half. And then I can highlight the one that I don't want, and I can click on delete. And it's going to snap right into place. Now, the second way to do that, you can drag it and pull it. But first, how are we going to go back? You see this little back arrow here, the undo. It has another shortcut, but we're going to click undo. And the first undo is the delete. The second one is the split. So what you can do, let me get this playhead out of the way. If I bring my cursor down and I go all the way to the beginning, you can see that the cursor changes from an arrow into this little thing. I don't even know what that's called. I'm not clicking yet. I'm just hovering over. And when that happens, you can click down, left click, and then you can drag the clip. I'm holding and I'm dragging all the way to right where I'm watching the playhead there, to where I start to speak, where I start to open my mouth, and then I let go. So now what that's done is it's brought it to the very beginning and it snapped everything back in place. Ideally, what's going to happen is when the viewer clicks on your video, you're not going to waste their time. You're going to get right into whatever it is that you're doing. So for this video, it's a talking head video. That means I'm sitting there and I'm speaking to you. I'm a talking head. So if I were to hit play right now, I'm going to get right into the video. This is the best free editing app in the entire world. Okay, let me pause for a second. I'm going to let this play, and then I'm going to stop it when I stop speaking. And you can follow along down at the bottom to see where the audio actually stops. And yes, I've tried them all. And yes, that's what I'm using to edit this video. Okay, I stopped speaking there, and I can see that there's no more audio up until this other point here. So I'm going to make sure the clip is selected. I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to drag this clip to the second part here to where I start to speak, and I'm going to let go. It's all going to snap into place. And I'm going to go back a little bit and see what it sounds like and what it looks like when the playhead moves over to the next clip to see if it's smooth. So I'm going to hit play, and I'm hitting play just by hitting space on the keyboard, but you can alternatively hit the play button right here. That's what I'm using to edit this video. It's available on your phone, your tablets, and your Okay, so the cut was fine, but I made a mistake. That's fine. Let's move forward and see if I made a mistake again. It's available on your phone, your tablets, and your desktop computers. You can use it for free, and I'm going to show you how to use it right now. Okay, I like that part. I know I need to cut off the end, and I also know that I need to go back and cut off the beginning. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on it. I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to hover, just like we did, and I'm going to pull it back. Now, it looks a little bit weird because it's bringing the clip on the right with it, but it works. So now we have brought that back. And again, you could have cut this as well. And we're going to go back to the beginning, which is about right there. And for this one, I'm just going to cut it. You use whichever method works best for you. I'm going to cut it. highlight the part that I don't want, and I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. And then playing it back, I'm going to bring the playhead over here and hit play. This video. It's available on your phone, your tablets, and your desktop computers. You can use it for free, and I'm going to show you how to use it right now. Okay, I'm reading my notes here. I use bullet points, and I make some bullet points, and I put them on a piece of paper, and I tape them up underneath the camera, and I go through them. I record in various clips. I say the bullet points, so it keeps me on track. So let's get to the point where I start speaking again and see what I have to say. It's called CapCut. Okay, so it's called CapCut, so I'm going to tell you what it's called. So I start speaking there. I highlight the clip. I'm going to cut the clip, highlight the part I don't want, hit delete. And you see what's happening. I'm trimming all the way along. I start at the beginning, and I'm essentially trimming the fat off of every clip so that what's left are clips that I'm going to use. So let's hear what that sounds like going from one clip, going from this clip to the next clip. I'm just bringing my mouse over here, and I'm clicking along up top, and it's going to bring this playhead, this vertical line with it. So let's play that back. How to use it right now. It's called CapCut, and it is perfect for beginners. So today's video is going to be a tutorial for beginners. So go to CapCut.com or go to the iOS store or go to the Google Play Store, download CapCut, install it, create your free account because you were editing for free today, and let me show you how to use it. Okay, I just stopped right now by hitting the play bar. As soon as I stop speaking, I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to split the clip, make sure that last clip is highlighted, and I'm going to delete it. Now, you are going to pull all of your clips into the timeline. You don't want to sit through a 2-hour video of me doing this, but you're going to pull everything in and do exactly what I just showed you how to do with your video. But now let me show you how to add graphics, and let me show you how to add text, and let me show you how to add some transitions before I show you how to export this and prepare it for YouTube. Let's say I want graphics to appear somewhere when I talk about downloading. So let me find the part where I'm talking about with downloading. Use it for free, and I'm going to show you how to use it right now. It's called CapCut, and it is perfect for beginners. So today's video is going to be a tutorial for beginners. So go to CapCut.com. Okay, so it's right about here. Go to CapCut.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and import the graphic. The graphics are all in my graphics file. And I already have a screenshot of the page that I want to show here. And I'm going to hit import. And it's going to pull it in just like it did the video clips. Now for this, I'm going to pull this on top of where I want it to go. And I'm using my playhead here as a reference for where to put it. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pull it down to right there. Now I have an image that showed up. Now, you have some options when you pull in images. If your image does not fully fit the screen, you can see my hands moving underneath there. You have a couple of options here, but for this video, I'm going to show you how to do things the easy way, and we can get into some more advanced techniques in a future video. The goal of this video is just to get you through your first video to give you an understanding of the basics so that you can follow another video in the future and get some more advanced techniques. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this because it's too small. And look up in the right-hand side. You're going to see some options up here. You've got basic, remove background, which we don't want right now, masking, retouch. We'll get into all of those in a future video. But I want you to look at basic and look at the scale. If we move this slider to the right, it's going to enlarge. To the left, it's going to shrink. I can also click these arrows to increase it or decrease it. I could even spin it if I want to, but I'm not going to do that right now. For this video, I'm going to scale it and enlarge it. And then on the actual player itself, I'm going to take my mouse, I'm going to left click, and I'm going to hold and move it around, and you're going to see center lines appear, vertical and horizontal. That means that it's center. So that's where I'm going to put this clip. So if I go back to the timeline down here at the bottom and I hit play, this is how it's going to come in. For beginners. So go to CapCut.com or go to the iOS store or go to the Google Play Store, download CapCut, install it, create your free account. Okay, maybe I want it to go all the way to there. So I'm going to highlight it, hover over, and I can just drag it all the way to the end. So now it's going to be all the way to the end here. Now I'm going to show you how to make this look a little bit better. Highlight the clip. Let's say you want to animate this image coming in. Highlight the clip, select it rather. Go to the top right, go to animation. Make sure in is selected. That means animation in. What you're going to notice here is a lot of these say Pro, 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 but that one doesn't say anything. If it says Pro, that means that CapCut is not going to let you use it unless you pay. But as you can see, I do not pay. I use CapCut for free. As you can see here by Join Pro. If you use any feature, any tool, any transition, any filter, any adjustment, anything that says Pro, they will ask you to pay when you go to export this video. But I don't do that. So what we're going to do is look for something without the Pro tag. And for that, I'm going to scroll down and look for some sort of a slide. Like maybe a slide down. Here we go, slide down. And if you hover over it, it shows you what it does. Go to CapCut. If I tap on that, it will automatically, I don't have to drag it. All I have to do is tap on it, and it's going to put it down at the bottom. You can see it's put a little white line down here at the bottom, and it has a duration here. It's 0.5 seconds. If I want that to move faster, I can use the arrows, and it's going to make it move faster. So let's back up a little bit and see what this looks like when it slides in. Beginners. So go to CapCut. There you go. Perfect. It slides down. But what about if I want it to slide out? Select the clip. By the way, this works for images and it also works for videos. I'm going to go back to animation. Now this time I'm going to go to out because I'm going to animate out at the end of it. And I'm going to look for a free slide. Here we go. Slide down. We're going to continue to slide down. I'm going to click on it there. And if you look at the duration, you see the one on the left, that's your in, and the one on the right, that is your out. So I want these to match. Count. So let's watch it slide in and slide out. Enters. So go to CapCut.com or go to the iOS store or go to the Google Play Store, download CapCut, install it, create your free account because you were editing for free today. Okay, that's perfect. So that graphic came in exactly how I wanted it to come in and come out. You can experiment and find the ones that work best for you. You can do all sorts of cool things here. But again, this is a very basic tutorial to get you through your first video. Now, what about transitions on the video? What about we want to do something between this clip and that clip? You can go to the left, top left, go to transitions. The same thing is going to apply here. And you can go over to transitions and you can expand this if you want. All sorts of different transitions, but note the Pro tag. Some of them have Pro tags, some of them do not. Let's look for something basic, like a slide. Let's see if there's any free ones here. Okay, there's blinds. You can hover over it and we'll show you what it does. There's a bounce. Okay. I'm not big on using transitions like this, but you might find some that you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click it and I'm going to drag it, and I'm not going to sit it on top. I'm going to put it right on top of the center of the two clips, and it's going to snap into place. And what you're going to see is now on the right-hand side, you have a duration, 0.5. Yours might have a different default setting, but you can click up or click down to make it the duration that you want it to be. So let me back up a little bit and hit play. How to use it right now. It's called CapCut. Okay, that's too short. Use it right now. That doesn't work. This particular transition does not work. Let me make it a little bit longer and see what it does. Use it right now. It still doesn't work. So this goes to show you that not every transition is going to work perfectly for the length that you're going to use this. So I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to click on delete. And it's gone, just like it was never there. Let's go to a white flash, black fade. We could do a mix. Let's test this. So let's pull this down. Same thing, right on top. Let's do the duration, 0.3 seconds. Back up and play it. Use it right now. It's called CapCut. Okay, you can see that it did a mix. It did a blend here. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I just wanted to show you how to add a transition. You can go wild and you can look through all of the transitions here. They have a ton of them. Just remember that any one that's marked Pro is not one that you can use for free. Now let's move on and let me show you how to add text. Let's find the spot where I actually say it's called CapCut. for free, and I'm going to show you how to use it right now. It's called Okay, right there. It's called CapCut, about right there. Go up to the left, click on text. Now you have a lot of options here, and you can expand this over here, add text. They have effects, they have text templates, and again, pro, free. You can have fun with these. You can use a pre-made effect if you want. CapCut, and it is perfect. And if you click on one, it will show you an example of what it looks like. And it is CapCut. And when it shows you the example before you pull it down, this doesn't mean that it's going to be in your timeline. It's just showing you what it could look like. CapCut, and it is But what I want, because I'm not big on these, I like something very simple. So I'm going to go to default text up here and add text. CapCut, and it is perfect. Default text, and I'm going to drag it all the way down, right to where I want it to show up. And it's automatically going to find its own space for it. Now, back over to the right, you can change the text here. So I'm going to type in CapCut. Actually, let's do all caps. So you can do cases. Boom. And I can change the font. Let's do something like Oswald. And let's change the font size. Let's make it really big. So when I say it, it looks cool. The color, I could change the color. I could change the lines if it was on more than one lines, like download CapCut. I could change the spacing there. I could change the character space between them, but I'm fine with that. There's also some preset styles that you could use. You can scroll on down and you can add a stroke if you want, which is this black border here, and you can change the color of the border if you want. And you can also go back to the player with your mouse, click and hold, and you can move this around and put it anywhere you want. You can also grab the corners and size it down if you want to size it that way. So if I want to bring it down here to the corner, I could do it that way. If I want to put it in the center, remember this vertical line here, a center line, I can put it there. I'm going to make it a little bit larger so when I say the word CapCut, it appears. And I only want it to appear, for the purpose of this video, for as long as I say the word. It's called CapCut. Okay, I said the word, so I'm going to highlight it. And I can split it here, or I can drag the end just like a normal clip, and I could pull it over. So let's see what that looks like right now. It's called CapCut, and it is perfect. Okay, that's how you put in text. And if you really wanted to, you could highlight that, and you can go back to animation, and you can animate the text in and out. Be mindful of the Pro tag. They have all sorts of animations for text in and out. Okay, so let's say you have your entire video edited, you have your graphics on here, you have the text, you have everything together. But let's say your audio is a little bit too low. I'm not going to deep dive into audio on this video, but I'm going to just show you some basics in case it was a little bit too quiet. Click on this little grid right here, and it's going to open up an audio meter on the right-hand side. Highlight all of the clips that you want to change the audio on, and then go up here to audio on the right. And what I like for this, I like my audio to sit somewhere between -6 and 0. I like it mostly in the green where it's just going into the yellow a little bit. If you're pushing into the yellow hard or the orange or it goes red, you're going to distort your voice. This is where I want you to start. You can experiment later and find a sweeter spot, and you find if it's not loud enough, you can adjust this, but this is what I like to do. So I'm going to play this. It might be a little bit loud because I'm going to adjust this a little bit. So bear with me. Right now. It's called CapCut. Okay, so you can see when I hit play, it's just going to -12. I'm going to highlight these again, go to audio, and I'm going to raise the volume. And I'm going to do it on the extreme end here. If I go all the way up, you can see the audio is coming up. Alternatively, if something's too loud, you could bring it down. So I'm going to bring it up until it starts to go into the orange on the clips. But I'm going to look at the meter over on the right. It is perfect for beginners. So today's video is going to be a tutorial for beginners. Okay, now I would probably go just a little bit louder, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm not going to. I'm actually going to put it back to where it was, or pretty close to it, just because I don't want to have to turn this up and down when I'm editing this final video. But I do want to show you one thing. Let's say you made some changes to one clip, and you realize, oh, I forgot to put it on these other clips. One thing you can do, you can highlight the clip, you can right-click the clip, you can copy attributes, and that's going to copy all of the changes that you've made to that video. If you've added brightness or saturation, or you've turned up the volume, it's going to copy all of them. Then go to the clip or clips you want to put it on, highlight that clip or clips, right click, and paste attributes. And it's going to ask you which attributes you want to copy and paste. I usually leave them all on unless I'm doing something very specific. And I paste. And now everything that you did to this clip is going to be on this clip and this clip or wherever you put it. All right, so now we've walked through that. You know how to import, you know how to add transitions, you know how to do basic editing, you know how to do text, add graphics, and how to adjust your audio. How are you going to prepare this for YouTube? Now, if you go over here to the modify section, and you can do this when you're first getting started. And by the way, my apologies here, because if you're watching this now and you're wondering why you couldn't add layers, it could be because of this. And I should have put this at the very beginning. Up here at the top, after you click on modify, you can add a name. Let's call it CapCut vid. That's the name of the file that you're going to render out. Aspect ratio, I leave it the same. That means that the video that I imported, it's going to be that size. Resolution, I leave it the same. Frame rate, CapCut is really good at determining the frame rate that you have recorded your video in. If you don't understand what a frame rate is, it means how many frames in a single second you have your video set at. And these are settings that you can change in your camera or your phone, whatever you recorded on. So go to Google if you don't know and type in your camera name or your phone name and ask how to change your frame rate. Most YouTubers are going to shoot in 24 frames per second, 25 frames per second, or 30 frames per second. Most people are going to have 24 or 30. If you're a gamer, you might do 60. That means 60 frames in a second, which means there's more information, which means it's smoother. So if you have gameplay or something like that, and you shot it in 60 frames per second, it's going to be smoother. So you want to make sure all of this is set. Color space, I leave it alone. Now here's the thing. If you couldn't get graphics to load up the way I was showing you, make sure you turn this layer on. And if you also find that your computer is struggling, if your computer is struggling to do all this, the first thing is close all your browsers, close all the other software. So this is the only software that's open. And if it's still a problem, go to performance and turn on proxy. What this does is it makes a low quality copy for you to work with while you're editing. And then when you go to actually export the video, it uses the higher quality video. So you have a good looking final product. But while you're editing, it's a lower resolution. So once you have all this set up, click save. Now you're ready to export your video. So go to the top right-hand corner, click on export. You have your name. You can rename it here if you want. Export to, make sure you choose a destination where you know where you're going to send it to so you can go get it and upload it to YouTube. Resolution, whatever you shot it in. So if you shot in 4K, leave it at 4K. Shot in 2K, 2K is fine. I would not go any lower than 1080p. If you're shooting in 720 and 480, that's just too small for YouTube these days. Try to do 1080p minimum. Codec, I'd leave it alone. Format, I'd leave it alone. Frame rate, adjust it if necessary, and make sure the video toggle is on. If you toggle on audio, this does not mean that it's going to include the audio. That means you're going to get a separate audio clip. If you have a video by itself, it will include the audio and the video. However, if you just wanted audio, let's say you're going to prepare a podcast and you only want audio, you would just select audio and it would give you an audio clip only, and you can choose your format. But for YouTube, you're just going to click on video and it's going to export the audio and the video at the same time. And then click on export. And depending on the speed of your computer, the power of your computer, and how long your video is, how much editing you've done, it might render out quickly or it might take a while. But once it's finished, you can grab that video and then upload it to YouTube. And I can show you how to do that in a future video as well.